Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good day wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the next episode of No Dice, No Glory. Sponsored by our jobs that actually pay us money, we're coming to you not at all live from an abandoned arms factory deep under a mountain in West Virginia. We are proud to proffer to you the finest in wargaming coverage. Without any further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tales of the Sale, episode 15. A Tales of the Sale, Quinceañera. And I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly for the benefit of anybody who speaks Spanish that listens to our podcast. This is our 15th episode, and I'm excited. I'm as excited about it as the people on MTV's Super Sweet 16 are excited about it when their dad gets them the wrong Ferrari. So I am joined tonight by Glenn, trying to get a bedtime to work, Van Meter.
Oh, those little rebels. How are you, everyone?
And Tyler, Culture Warrior Stone.
Hey, everybody.
And I am Tom Chairborne Mullane. We're broadcasting to you from our respective bunkers all over the northeast and mid-Atlantic seaboard. And we got a lot of things going on for you this month in April as spring rolls around. I'll start us off by letting us know what we've been up to. We have trivia stuff later. We're going to cover some missions from the book, and we're going to give out some prizes. We're going to roll some dice. We got a lot of answers this time around, and they said it couldn't be done. Glenn and Tyler thought that my trivia question was too difficult, but they were wrong because we had more than 20 answers. That's pretty good, and almost all of them were right. With apologies to the one poor folk who got it wrong several times, I think. But I was already made fun of by one of the people who responded that it was far too easy. And I'll be sure to mock that person later on. I'll let Glenn start this off because I always talk too much in the beginning. So Glenn, tell us what you have been up to since we last recorded.
Oh, all the things. Baby lambs being bottle fed, baby humans being bottle fed. I feel like some of my coworkers need to be bottle fed. I've been so busy. But I have managed to get the Sloop of War painted. So I got that done. Woo! As a bonus, I also painted up a longboat, which in and of itself isn't amazing. I did that in about 2 hours on one of our paint nights. But I used the spare parts from rigging the Sloop of War with a frigate kit to give it a lateen sail and bowsprit, etc. So now I have a nice longboat with actual sails on it, which I'm hoping to finish up very soon, and we'll be posting that to the Facebook page probably before this episode goes live.
Nice.
And I keep pretending like I'm going to start putting paint on the dozen Canadian militia sitting here in front of me.
Are they primed?
They're primed white. They're sitting near paint brushes. It's all good to go. But I inevitably end up feeding a small child instead of doing things.
Yeah, I do think it's a minor miracle that you get anything done at all. So you've been on fire. You've been pretty consistent meeting any of the challenges that we've laid down for each other. And people will get a taste of that a little later in the episode. But yeah, I just feel obligated to say that you're doing far better than I would if I were in the same situation as you. Because I'm not managing a farm. I got other problems.
Yeah, I just provide manual labor on the farm. So, anyways, that I'm working on the F&I campaign a little bit here and there still. I did host a large multiplayer battle last weekend. I don't know how that slipped my mind.
Oh, yeah. You were talking to us about that at Paint Night, right? That was pretty cool.
So I had 3 of my local players come up, and we did a 4-way battle royale ship battle where we each picked a corner and then randomly rolled for wind direction, which was kind of funny because obviously if you're pointing into the middle of a board from a corner, wind direction from two directions could put you into the wind. And naturally, there was only one square-rigged ship because the others were sloops or tartanas, and the wind was against the square-rigged ship. So
for the uninitiated, namely me, since I still have not gotten to play with the gorgeous boats that I painted, how does that work differently in terms of movement? The square-rigged ship has a much harder time moving.
So when you're sailing into the wind, you often have a penalty to your speed due to the fact that you're working against the wind and not with it. Some Latina-rigged vessels, I believe, have minor penalties, but square rigs tend to have a much larger penalty for going into the wind. So, for instance, I think Brian was using the sloop of war at the time, which could normally go 4 or 5 inches. However, it was at a -2 penalty due to sailing into the wind. So every time he was supposed to move his ship, it only went 2 inches instead of 4.
Did that give him any kind of advantage at some point, put him in better firing range, or no? He
couldn't maneuver effectively. I was able to close him with a sloop and blast a couple of sections of his ship clear. Not that he didn't return the favor, but it was fun. We had a nice. It ended up with a scrum in the middle. I did get to test out my tactic of closing with a ship and just throwing fire pots like it's nobody's business.
And how'd that work out for you?
It was the last turn, so I didn't have to deal with the consequences of my actions. But I would have had to cut grapnels soon before the fire spread to my ship because so my friend Brad's Tartana came up and he threw grenades onto my ship and almost cleared my front deck of my sloop. And I responded by moving a unit up from the quarterdeck, and they're the ones that threw fire pots. And I had already unloaded with a different unit using swivels. So both units in the front of his Tartana were pinned down with, I think it was 5 fatigue each. And it was only 4 or 5 guys left in the units. And just due to the volume of fire, there was just lots of fatigue on his ship. And then I'm throwing fire pots over there, which you have to rally before you can try to put the fire out. And they couldn't run to a different part of the ship because it was full. So, yeah, I would have liked to see how that played out, but it probably would have involved a burning ship.
I feel like it's historically accurate in a way because I remember reading an account where a pirate captain was throwing fire pots and he yelled out, "It's cool, it's the last turn," and then it was fine.
Yeah, so I would like to see that play out more, but I did find grenades, any kind of explosive on a ship, if you're within 5-inch range to throw those things, because so much shooting on a ship involves cover and hard cover, your crews tend to last a lot longer until all of a sudden you're having grenades and things land in your midst and eliminate your cover save completely. So you're down to 9s and 10s. And I just saw swaths of my crew hitting the deck dead because, it was not.
I will
pretty.
say that all the guys that play it near me, we've gotten a chance to get a few games in. I had an article about it out last month, and I need to get on the article that I currently have. But they all didn't get the boats yet because the boats are a big investment. Well, they don't have to be. There's smaller and mid-sized boats that are not that pricey, but I think most of them are probably having ambitions to, put together a flute or a 6th rate or a frigate or something like that. And because I don't have anybody near me that has the boats, I know that if I'm going to play a boat battle, I have to be the one with all the boats, which gives me an incentive to collect more boats because I really only have one completed and I have a bark, but that's it.
Most of these guys are new, still building their forces and such, so I did supply all of the ships for the game.
Well, that's what being a quartermaster is all about.
Yep, and I'm hoping to host. I'm trying to make it a monthly thing for back porch gaming. So I already have one planned in about 2 weeks from date of recording, but probably a couple days from the time this releases. It'll be I'm doing oak and iron demos for the community. So
Nice. Yeah,
Yep.
take pictures, do an article, because I need
Gonna.
to get 2 articles that are in the works done. And
Yeah,
I had
I'm writing.
ambitions, but I didn't finish.
I'm also working on articles about how to do the sloop of war if you want to do one, and then it'll be a follow-up with how to take all of the pieces, parts that are left over, and to make a longboat into a lateen longboat.
Nice.
So that's what I've been up to.
Tyler, I realized that we filled in what you've been up to for you, and it's not something we're going to read, because we have a tendency to do that on the show notes, where since people don't see our show notes, we type in fake things for somebody as jokes that if we read them out, probably be terrible. So yeah, what have you been up to? Or do you want me to go through mine while you think through your month?
No, I can do it. It's fine. Anyone who has been on the biweekly paint nights knows that I've been complaining about painting up a bunch of Australians for Blood and Valor, the World War I game. It's just a grind. I'm doing like 40 of them at a time. So it's 40 pairs of boots or 40 instances of their web gear and so forth. Also, I'm going to say, let's see, last week in preparation for conventions and so on, potentially making a comeback, I got the first round of the COVID vaccine.
Oh yeah, I also got mine this month.
And I'm currently fending off side effects of that. So if I drop out, that is what's going on.
You just kind of keeled over.
Yeah.
I was wondering why you were eating dinner at 9:30. But
It'll be like the scene
now.
from. I just see him act like doing the Vizzini thing from Princess Bride.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
where
totally.
he's just mid sentence and keels over.
Or he just announces like, and now I pass out, and then he just like totally falls over. So what I've been up to is first of all, I did finish painting my flutes. We'll get into it more when the bets come down, but it's rigged. Wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, everybody kept telling me that. Like, I got advice from a bunch of people that had done it multiple times. But I think that the thing that made it the happiest for me was having the sails ready to go. So like, there are all sorts of bits of advice that you're going to get from different places telling you what you can use for sails. And some people use little pieces of canvas that they've made hard or that they've like stained. Some people use like pieces of foam, and it all works great. But I bought my sails from, and Glenn, I'm pretty sure this is right because I bought it so long ago. It's Adam Horton. I got Adam Horton sails, right?
Via Steam Kraken Studios.
Steam Kraken Studios. I will give them a plug because they went together great. I had all the pieces. Yeah, he saved me a whole lot of time, and I was really happy for it. So yeah. I'm going to order a bunch more from him, probably in preparation for getting other ships, because I'd much rather have somebody do the kind of work that he does to get them looking really good. Because like they have like a nice color to them, they have the lines on them. Yeah, I really can't speak more highly of it. They're well worth the price.
I'll also point out that he does them with an actual cloth, but then he does Mod Podge or something. I don't know what miracle magic he does, but they look dirty in the right spots, and they're kind of stiff, so you don't have to worry about them getting crumpled and stuff.
Yeah, they really look like sun-tanned canvas. So Steam Kraken Studios, check it out. Drop Adam Horton a line. Get yourself some sails. If you've been debating for yourself what to put on the ship, it's a good solution.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to talk about missions, and we have 2 missions left, and I think that these are the last 2 that are on land, right? And then we jump into ship missions.
Yep. I think we should just say, for the record, I think Tyler's done. I think he's out.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, Tyler did his best, but it's going to be me and Glenn carrying on.
It's like Tyler episode 1 again. You're all in for it.
Poor Tyler. No, Tyler's just not feeling good, and so he has decided to leave us. It's okay. Me and Glenn talk smack about him all the time. So I'll try a couple times to be Tyler by trying to pretend that I know more than I do, which isn't a reflection on Tyler. It's more just Tyler knows more about this stuff historically than me. So I'll have to feign some knowledge. But I feel like one of my jobs could have been as a Daily Show correspondent. So I feel like that kind of, unearned, specialty is I can pull that off. All right, so let's talk about Search and Recover.
Oh God.
So I can do the reading on this one if you want to do the reading on Plunder. Okay. And I'm not going to read the whole darn thing. I'm more going to paraphrase. Okay. But feel free to jump in and cut if you have to, Glenn.
I can hardly wait.
Okay. So Search and Recover is a fair fight mission. And the first thing you wind up doing is you have to set up search markers. So I'll read the first part of it. Scenario requires 8 identical markers, numbered 1 to 8 on each side. You mix the markers up, face down, and place them near the board. Each player rolls 1d10, and the highest roller places the marker first. You're taking one at random from the pool, and you're placing it face down anywhere. Marker cannot be within 9 inches of another. So they have to be spaced pretty much throughout the board. Once they're all placed, all 10, all 8 of them. 8 of them. You roll a d10, and then that's the thing you're going to be fighting over. If you roll a 9 or a 10, you're re-rolling it.
Well, you're not just fighting over it. You're trying to locate it because you placed all
Yes.
these numbers face down.
Correct. So it's pretty random, and it might wind up being that it's the one like right in your deployment area. And I because of that, I don't really know.
Well, hold on. It can't be within 9 inches of a deployment zone.
No, but still, it could be the one that you place really close to, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I know it's not in your deployment zone, but, there's going to be 8 dots all over the board. You don't know the number, but you're going to reveal them as you walk up. To do that, you have to, a unit has to have one model base to base, and they spend an action to reveal it. So I guess that this scenario would generally help fast-moving forces, but we'll come back to that. The tricky part of this comes with what happens when you actually find it, okay? Because let's say you pull it off and you've recovered what you were searching for. If the unit reveals it and it turns out to be the correct number, it is in possession of the prize, okay? And what that prize would be, maybe it's a blender monkey. Maybe it's the last curly fry in the bottom of a normal fry. Because those are choice. Okay.
What if it's Indiana Jones style Ark of the Covenant?
Ooh, yeah. I don't know.
Don't open it.
Don't open it. Keep your eyes shut. But regardless, you get that move, and once you get it, the unit that possesses the prize gains something called the high standing special role. Until something happens that causes them to no longer possess the prize. And Tyler was good enough to do a little research by pulling out his second book. But Glenn, do you remember precisely what high standing does?
Yes. Also, you don't need a second book. They conveniently updated all the special rules in No Peace Beyond the Line. So if you have that, they're all in there at a later section, right around where weapons are. High standing. A unit with high standing due to either physical inability or they refuse to stoop to such actions, etc. They lose elusive, quick, scout, skirmisher, and hidden. So, elusive gives you better saves, quick makes you move faster, scout makes you go faster through terrain, skirmisher is just you're a little more agile in that you can move, attack, and then move back to your original position. And then hidden obviously makes you harder to hit as well. All of those things go away so that you're a valid target and the enemy can attempt to recover the prize. You don't just get to slip away with it.
Which makes sense from a game balance perspective. And also, I would say that the other point of this is that a valid strategy for this mission is not to take a bunch of specialist units that could try to move fast, because it's not going to do any good. Because
you want to get there first and find it, but
you do. So speed will help, but none of those special rules are going to help you, because if you're the unit carrying it, you don't get any of them.
Right.
Now, you're not stuck with it, because right below that it tells you can transfer the prize from one unit to another. The unit can spend an action to transfer possession of the prize to another friendly unit within 1 inch. And it then may also spend an action to take possession of it. So if you have a unit that's in much better shape, that's right next to you, and you're about to get shaken or beat up, then you can just use that other better unit's action to take it. So
Right. So
it makes
that
it
is
pretty
to
easy
say,
to transfer it. Yeah.
specifically, that is to say, one unit needs to spend an action to transfer between the two. They don't both have to spend the action.
And it's giver or the taker. It doesn't matter. It's just one action. Yeah.
Right.
Now, the prize can be dropped, and it happens either when the unit goes prone or it becomes shaken, and a shaken unit cannot possess the prize. It will drop the prize to the ground before they retreat.
Or if you just get shaken and go prone, it's still in your proximity. You just have to
be unshaken and pick it up.
And stand up.
And if the prize is dropped in a ship or fortification, it counts as being in possession of the force that controls that particular structure.
Unless the structure or ship is not controlled.
Also, if the prize is lost, you both lose. And if somebody deliberately destroys the prize, then they lose specifically.
Now, I did want to point out, in the whole revealing search markers thing, we talked about this a little bit before the show. We're discussing land battles. So on a land battle, you're going to see the prize either sitting on land or in shallow water, like a river or a stream, where your units can physically move up to it. But in amphibious or sea battles, you can actually have the prize in deep water, in which case a unit within 3 inches has to make a successful grapple or throw grapples action, which to me is just like you put out a bunch of longboats and you're like going for your lobster pots. Like
it's like Deadliest Catch.
You want to find the golden lobster. So, all right, the scenario itself for land. Now that we're there, we've covered how to set up search markers and the prize. And keep in mind, the prize will be important not only in this one, but also in the second scenario we'll be discussing, which is plunder. But the search and recovery scenario, for setup, the entire board is land terrain. No specific terrain is required aside from placement of the search markers. Scenario rules are explained above. We just went over them. Deployment, defending player chooses one board edge, the attacker chooses the opposite, or takes the opposite, and the forces deploy as shown in the deployment diagram. You have 3 inches from your board edge, whether it's a 3x4 or a 3x3, or whatever size you're using. You have 6 turns to go find the objective and then try to deny it to your opponent. Both sides gain a strike point at the end of turn 3 if the other side possesses the prize. And then, as Tom said, both lose if it's destroyed or if you intentionally destroy it, such as you purposely drop it in a burning building or something like that. Then you lose.
I feel like I would totally do that. Like if I were playing against Tyler or something.
Except it's specifically called out.
Yeah. My strategy is invalidated, unfortunately.
Yes. They Mike Tunez knew you were coming, Tom.
He did. He knew. He always knows. His rules are too good.
So
he anticipates all this numbskullery.
Yeah. So I was looking over this. There is no difference between the attacker and defender here. It's not like, the defender's going to have a hard time in the early mission, the attacker's got an easy time later. Like, this is straightforward. You're both searching the board for a marker. The first person to find it and take possession and probably haul it back to their own side to better defend it is the winner. Like, that's fairly straightforward. I think, like Tom said, if you have some quick units, they're going to be able to get there and find the prizes first, but you're not going to be able to haul them anywhere faster. Although having a bunch of quick units, I think, would strategically be good in this, only because it allows you to find the units, and then the one that loses quick would be able to kind of start retreating, and the others would be able to converge on its location faster.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, and then obviously, if you have quick units, they can try to intercept the prize if it's found.
But other than that, there's not a lot of like really specific strategies. Because of the way that they've written it, it's pretty balanced in terms of where the potential prizes would be hidden, because they have to be 9 inches apart. So you can't like cluster them all near one spot or get tricky. It's really just a matter of, can you split your force up and search as many spots as possible and increase your chances of pulling the right marker. That's it, really.
Yeah. And I mean, we've at least I've got the book open, so I can see land, amphibious, and sea in front of me. And I gotta say, I know I compared it to lobster pots, but the land one here, straightforward. I really think this would be the most fun on amphibious or a sea table, because having to sail your ship within 3 inches of each marker to find it, I think would be the real challenges here. So, yeah,
I think amphibious is the way to play this. Like if you're somebody who is just testing it out with a friend and wants to play a scenario, and you've got a decent set of terrain, I would go for the amphibious. I think it'd be fun, because you'd have just wild, crazy people running all over the place, ships probably running aground, trying to get to the spots they want to get to. It's just be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so someday we'll cover all the amphibious and sea scenarios, but in the meantime, this one, I didn't even see this one before. Man, I might have to find a way to incorporate this into the F&I campaign. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah, you got to do it.
I'm going to have to find a way to put the amphibious version in.
All right, which brings us to Plunder. So
Yes.
Plunder is pretty much in the same vein, I would say. The big difference is we're trying to... We have buildings. So Defender selects or places 2 buildings that are at least 6 inches from any table edge and at least 6 inches from each other, and must be oriented so that each building has an access point on the center line of the board. These are referred to as objective buildings A and B. So they can be part of a bigger town, but the defender gets to pick them if there's a whole town placed. You just need to make sure that you're following the rules in terms of where the entrance is, because you can't have them be facing cockeyed, right?
Well, it just says the entrance has to be on the center line. Doesn't say it has to be, perpendicular or
parallel.
Yeah,
you're right. Good point.
But it's also just an access point, which means it could just be a lower window. So, because I'm pretty sure you can go through windows.
Yeah, you totally can. Yeah,
you just need to have a side of the building that somehow has an opening that touches the center line. And so I'll go into this a little further. The defending player secretly determines which of the 2 objective buildings contains the prize, and they write that information on a scrap of paper and then keep it secret. Keep it safe. When the attacker has a unit in the secretly selected objective building, the paper must be revealed for all to see. The unit in that building immediately possesses the prize, so you don't even need an action for that. Rules for moving and handling the prize are found earlier. Attacking units that use lay in wait must set up at least 9 inches from a possible objective. Defending player chooses one board edge. The attacker takes the opposite. You both have 3 inches to deploy in. The big one in this one is that 1 out of every 3 of the defender's units are not placed on the board during deployment, but are instead held off the table in reserves.
And so remind us how reserves. Yeah, remind us how.
Yeah, because the first thing Tyler and I were talking about this before the episode. It was like, wait a minute, we should probably look up reserves because we hardly ever use them ourselves, but it does come up every now and then. With reserves, you place a unit in reserve, and from turn 2 on, you roll a d10. On turn 2, you need a 6-up. On turn 3, you need a 4-up. And on turn 4, they automatically arrive on your deployment edge. And then you use an action to move on the board, etc. Which I can already say is a benefit over Flames of War, because...
Yeah, because you have, at the start, first of all, it starts on turn 2, not turn 3. And on a d10, a 6+ would be better than average, right? Because average.
No,
is
well,
seven.
no.
So no, it's not. It's not. It's still bad,
A
but it's
6
not
plus
20%.
is 50%.
It's better than 20%. It's 50%.
And it's a 4 plus is 70%.
Yeah.
And then auto is 100%. And that's all of your reserves, mind you. It's not like Flames where... Sorry, I know we can compare to Flames. That's because Tom and I are old Flames players.
Yeah.
You get 1 die starting on turn 3, and the next turn you get 2 die, etc. And you might have like 6 units in reserve, and it's for each die that gets a 5 up, you get 1 in. So
right.
it can
There are
take a
some
while to
games,
get your
like,
reserves.
in Team Yankee, there are games where just like half your force just doesn't show up, and you just get walloped. So I don't think that's going to happen in this, but
No, you're probably going to be able to duke it out.
This is where list construction becomes important, because if you only have a couple of bulky units with a ton of elite stuff in it, if you don't have a lot in terms of model count, and you're the defender, you might find yourself in some trouble, I would say.
That said, at least the way I read it, 1 out of every 3. I presume that you have to like get to that 6th unit before you lose a 2nd unit in reserve.
That's how I read that as well.
Yeah, because I mean I know that when you're counting models, like I'm using the same theory application for like when you're counting grenades or fire pots. Like when it says 1 of 8, you have to have 8 in the unit to do it in this game. Like,
oh, that's a good point.
So I'm
you're
applying that same logic of you must hit that number before the thing takes into effect.
So to just quickly kind of talk about like objectives, attacker gains a strike point at the end of turn 3 and later if no attacking unit is within 4 inches of the prize, or a structure that may contain the prize if it has not been revealed yet. Defender gains a strike point at the end of any turn if an attacking unit possesses the prize. And then the same rules apply if the prize is destroyed, you both lose. And if somebody deliberately destroys it, they lose. But like, so I feel like the defenders obviously at a disadvantage, but it's not as big as it is in other games that have reserves as a rule. So yeah, I don't know. Any strategies, theories you want to throw out there, Glenn?
I don't know. I mean, the attacker's going to have a lot easier time getting up there and avoiding that extra strike point, just because they only need to be near the building, and the defender isn't starting anywhere near it. Plus, if the attacker has lay in wait, they're practically on it in turn 1. That said, the defender could lay in wait, and then, at least I think they can. I don't remember if that's specific to attacking units.
It doesn't say anything about the defender. It just says attacking units that use the lay in wait rule must set up at least 9 inches from.
No, I'm saying I don't remember if lay in wait requires you to be attacking.
I don't know.
Oh well.
I don't know.
We'll deal with that later.
We will. But yeah, I would say it's...
Yeah, as a defender, you just need to rush in and stop the attacker from getting into those buildings. Having reserves is going to hurt you, but at the same time, the attacker needs to be in possession of the prize, which means that once... As a defender, you also know which building it's in, which could tip off the attacker if you kind of play it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, if your entire army converges on one building, the attacker's probably going to figure it out real quick. So you might want to use some decoy units to go for the other building, just to trick them. But at the same time, you do need to go make sure they don't capture the prize. Because they get it as soon as they're in the building. They don't need to...
Yeah, they don't need to be in it. They don't need to be... Yeah, I know what you mean.
They don't need to take actions.
No. They just need to get there.
You could literally walk in the building, have it, and then start walking out in the same turn.
Yeah, as soon as it's revealed, that's the deal. It's one of the structures.
So
because you're plundering, you're not searching and seizing.
No, if you just need to hold the prize, as the attacker, it might be better to just, stay in the building and stuff it full of units so that it's harder to attack. But
bingo.
So defenders bring cannon.
I gotta start using some cannons. I still haven't gotten to try the mechanics for it yet, but it looks.
We keep saying it, and I don't think they're actually all that useful on land games unless there's buildings to be blown up.
I don't care. I have all this smoke effects from Flames of War that I want to use on a table, so I'm going to do that.
Bring cannons and fire pots.
Yeah, exactly.
That
I haven't
sounds
used
great.
fire pots either, but I feel like that's more of a ship thing. So,
Oh, I actually looked up. I'm a Dutch player. I hadn't bothered looking up what enter ploeg means. It actually just means like it means entry party. So like literally, it's an assault group.
yeah, cool. I mean, I
So-
have all those dudes painted up, all the
Which-
sailors ready to go with the axes and stuff.
Yeah, and it makes sense considering they like come loaded for bear.
Yeah, just like covered in pistols, ready to go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they have brace of pistols. Don't they get free grenades for like every 4 models or something stupid? Like
Yeah,
they're
it's-
expensive.
yeah.
They're veterans. They
do
are the
not
elite.
mess around. They will chew up stuff in an assault.
Yeah. So, all right,
Alright, so we're
we've
talking
done
about
all the
vets,
land.
all the
Wait, hold
land
on.
stuff.
We've
So-
done all the land missions now.
I would also say that next time, before we get into the ocean stuff, I think I'd like to put on the list like a general overview of like ship combat for people that have never tried it before.
Yeah, we should
Like-
probably go over the basics of like sailing ships because I know you
Like,
need to
you
know.
I need to know like types of weapons, types of ship sails, because like I feel like it's so much fun, and it's also one of the most cool things to look at if you're walking by this game at a convention. So
And yet, Mike made it very simple.
he did, yeah, he did. I've read the rules, but I just haven't seen him in action yet. So
Oh, it's so easy. It literally, like, it confused me at first, but it's literally just moving buildings. Like that's what I love about this game is they took something that could be stupidly complicated, and they just made it easy.
And it's funny, I remember somebody complained to Mike once, being like, I'm angry. This should be far more complicated. Sailing in the 1600s is too complex. And
Yeah,
Mike's
but-
like, I don't understand. You're mad that the game is too easy to understand.
But
And the guy's
why
like,
was
yeah.
why was Plankton from SpongeBob complaining to Mike?
Because that's how I imagine all old people sound. It's how I want to sound when I'm on the verge of retiring from being a teacher.
Well, by that point, you might.
Don't tell me what to do. Where
All
are
right.
the Krabby Patties?
All right, Bets, are you going first or am I going first?
I'll go first. All right. So
Oh man,
the goal last time. Oh, you need time to. Okay, so then.
no,
you go first.
because if I'm talking, I still don't have the time.
I know that's the beauty
I
of it.
just
Tyler's
spaced
not
out on
here.
this again.
Tyler can't help us. Tyler can't help us. Oh Lord. Okay, so the goal last time for me was to finish the flute and rig it, which was accomplished thanks to Steam Kraken Studios and Adam Horton Sales, and also a generously shipped Amazon Prime order that had additional rigging cord. I will say that it came with enough cord to do it. I just tied my knots like an idiot for the first half, and I kept cutting them. So because of that, I was like one line short, and I used the fatter line that I got from Amazon because I didn't realize that. Just FYI, for those of you that are rigging a ship and you need more than the elastic cord that they provided, if that is in fact what you're using, then my suggestion is get the 1 millimeter elastic cord, because I got 2 millimeter, and that proved to be it's too fat. I mean, it worked, but I had to like make the sails hole slightly bigger, and kind of clip it really tightly to get it to go through. So
Now, I forget. Did you use your elastic to tie all the sails onto the yards, or
I did, yes, yeah.
okay? I did that
also-
on my sloop, but for the one since then, because trying the cloth that Adam uses, the hole punches in it aren't great just because it's cloth. So trying to put a piece of elastic through a hole in cloth is just it's not friendly. I actually started using black thread with a needle, and I would just poke it through the hole and be done.
I had sewing needles with me when I was doing it, so that definitely helped. But I would say
Yes.
that I got like actual model ship rigging, like the ropes, and those I think are what I would use for the sails next time to tie them on, because you don't need the elastic stretch. And I definitely wanted to set it up so that it worked the way you can either rig it in place with all the elaborate ropes back and forth in between, or you can rig it in such a way that you can pull the mast up and lay them flat, so it's easier to store. And I preferred the utility of it as opposed to it looking like a really realistic model. So I was happy with it that way. So the goal is to finish the flute, rig it, put the sails on it. Done. Mission accomplished. And as a result of that, I was spared the indignity of having to record myself singing "Rubber Ducky, You're the One" in a bathtub. Goal this time. So my goals are either to finish all the primed Lanceros for my Spanish force. I think there's like 16 of them. Or paint and rig my bark, which is the other ship that I have that's waiting to get painted. It hasn't even been primed or cleaned. And Glenn, you have a challenge for me.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up. I didn't transfer all of the outlines over, which I really should do. I think you should do several pieces of terrain. And I'm trying to remember what all you said you would do. But again, I don't have...
I can pull it up. Hold on a second. I think I have it here.
I transferred everything starting after that episode. Because I'm that good.
I think I have. I thought I cut and pasted on here somewhere.
Well, anyways. I think you should do... What were your challenges? I think you should do 3 pieces of terrain.
Okay. I mean, like,
of decent size.
Of decent size. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want you to do like 3 tiny, like 2-inch round bases of like trees.
No, I have MDF cut, and I have hills cut. So it's just a matter of I need to get the hot glue gun out and get to work, basically.
Oh no, I want you to do the complicated stuff that you were talking about doing, not just slap some hills with like. I don't want you to like throw glue on styrofoam and shake some green on it and call it done.
No. Like, I mean, what I'm planning on doing is basically like jungle hills. So we're talking like different pieces of like stone attached to it. I have palm trees, different types of sand and dirt. It's pretty elaborate. It'd be like something the size of like a keyboard, basically 3 of them. So it would be like scatter terrain, but it's also substantial enough to basically...
You know what? I have it. Did you ever finish your treasure chest objectives?
No, I didn't.
This says you'll do 10 of them.
10?
You have to do 10 treasure chest objectives. Okay. I don't think that's hard because they're just objectives. They just need to be like a wooden circle with a treasure chest on them. It's like painting 10 minis.
Yeah, but like, I don't want to just make them like they'll have little stuff on them and stuff. Like I'll have parrots and
I get it.
People and jewels and things like that. All right.
I'm just reading your resolution. If I'm making you do terrain, it's going to be that.
I'm going to think about it, but I'm not going to decide right away. What's the penalty if I fail?
Oh, the penalty if you fail. Man, I'm always so bad at picking penalties. Usually I rely on Tyler as my backup to, have a brain for me.
I know, Tyler has something good.
I think it comes from his politics. There's always a penalty.
There's always a penalty.
Whether it's starvation or just lack of money. We already did the rubber ducky thing.
I mean, there could be more rubber duck themed stuff. Like,
yeah, just that's not. See, all right.
I know what I can do. I have to film a duck battle with my flute in the bathtub. I'm not going to be in the bathtub because that'd be gross. But I will post shots of the flute on the water.
No. Don't. We're not. Don't. For those listening, please don't put your painted models in water. Just don't do that.
I do what I want.
Okay.
It's a penalty. I'm trying to avoid it.
I don't want to penalize you by having you ruin a $150 model.
That's fair. All right. We need something. We need something. You need to.
Yeah,
You need to come
you've
up with
got
a
all
prize.
those. You got your rubber duck dice, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think.
How about I have to ship you a set of rubber duck dice if I fail?
No, I already have some.
Okay.
I don't need more.
All right. All right.
Dang it! Oh, you know what? No, darn, that won't work either. I was gonna say you have to paint your bark yellow, but if that's already one of your, if you're already painting the bark, that won't work either.
I haven't started yet. I haven't done that.
Yeah, but you'd have to fail the thing and then have to paint it, and penalizing you with having to do the thing you were supposed to do anyway doesn't seem like a fun punishment.
I could create some duck flags.
No, because I feel like you do that for fun.
I have enough stuff to do for fun.
Oh, you know what? I think this is very similar to the last one. I sent you Moby Duck by the Longest Johns.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I want you to sing that.
All right. I'm putting it down.
You don't have to involve your wife this time, but you'll have to sing all of the Moby Duck by the Longest Johns.
All right.
And post the video.
Which brings us to you, Glenn.
Yup.
Your goal last time was
The Sloop of War. Completed, rigged with sails. Which I accomplished last Wednesday.
you
What
were
is
way
that?
ahead. You were
Not even this past Wednesday, the one prior. I've completed on the 24th, due on the 27th. So, yeah, and then I've proceeded to waste all the time since then.
And as a result of that, we have not fed me some lamb. I think we're going to ship me some lamb.
Yep. Tom did not get lamb. All the lambs are still alive here on the farm.
All right. Goal for today.
For now. Goal this time. The one I'm setting myself, I don't know why you gave yourself 2 goals to pick from. Which one are you doing? You've got to pick. Sorry, back to you. Are you doing Prime Lanceros or Rig the Bark? Or are you doing my challenge? Because you got to pick now.
I do have to pick now. I'm going to paint and rig the bark because it might be a really bad month. So I'm going to pick the more manageable problem.
Okay. So the 10 minutes I've wasted on finding the treasure chest information and then failing to come up with a penalty are now useless. Wasted. Sorry, folks.
It's not entirely. No, it's not entirely. It puts it back on my radar. I'm going to have them ready. It'll be a more viable thing next time, I think. But given the amount of detail I'm going to put into these, I think it's a lot. It'd be easier for me to paint 16 Lanceros than 10 treasure chests.
See, my next bark, for some reason, I got on not some reason, it's obvious if you know, I got onto a Stan Rogers kick and was listening to a bunch of his stuff, and I'm super inspired by Barrett's Privateers. My next bark is going to be just painted up like a super weathered, like beat up ship. I'm going to try and figure out how to do like tattered sails, and it's going to be the Antelope. But go listen to that song, Barrett's Privateers, if you haven't. It's great. So, my goal for this time that I'm setting for myself, I promised a friend that I would do this commission I've been sitting on for like 6 months now by the end of this month. So I'm giving myself a relatively simple goal of complete 12 soldados. So it'll be towards the Spanish force, but not part of the Spanish box that Tom and I have been talking about doing a challenge on.
That's coming. It's coming soon.
It is next month, I hear. Once we keep putting it off for my stupid side goals.
It's
12 soldados,
months, so it's going to be a challenge. But I'll be ready.
12 soldados will put me halfway towards my 150 point of Spanish goal, pretty much.
I mean, all my Spanish are primed and ready to go. They're just sitting on top of a kitchen appliance right now. There's so many of them.
I can have them primed, ready to go soon. 12 soldados. So what's your challenge for me?
So my challenge for you is you talked about your scenario the French Indian War scenario, and I'd like you to post a rough draft of it by the end of the month. Doesn't need to be finished, just needs to be a draft, so that we can like comment on it. Yeah, the campaign.
Wow, criminy. That might take that one. Because rough draft of the campaign.
Yeah. Because I think it'd be a good idea to like get other feedback on it, or to see.
See, this is where you being a teacher is a way out for me, because it's a rough draft. It doesn't need to be finished. I can throw.
That's true. I know you would be the student that would.
I can throw. No, it's gonna be like 70% crap. Like, it's like 70% of the way there. It's nowhere near done, but it qualifies as a rough draft.
It qualifies as a rough draft. I'm fine with it. I'm not going to be picky. I'm not going to.
It's not. It's not like scientific standards where like is this ready for peer review? No.
Yeah. Okay. No, we're not playing that game. No.
And to answer anyone's question of if you're sitting there rating a paper and asking yourself, is this ready for peer review? The answer is always no.
The answer is always no. You're darn straight.
But at some point, you just need to hit the send button.
So, are you taking my easy teacher way out, or are you completing?
I am. I'm actually taking the challenge.
Sweet. Okay. So the penalty, if you fail, if you don't post a rough draft of your planned campaign on the Facebook page by the end of the month, is I need a Photoshop of your face and my face in a French and Indian War painting that will also need to be posted.
This is going to be so great. I almost want to fail on purpose now, just to.
I know.
It's going to be bad when I post this on like day two after the podcast comes out. I'm like, guys, I'm preempting this. Here you go. Just because I want our faces in the French and Indian War.
I'm so bad at Photoshop, but I love a good Photoshop. Like I'm
going to be honest. I'm not going to be the one photoshopping it. I will outsource this to get it photoshopped for much more hilarious responses.
I do think that
I know exactly where I'll take this to market it to a large group of people who have great senses of humor.
I mean, yeah, we got a lot of great people that could probably do a pretty good job with this, that listen to this podcast, I suspect.
Probably.
So, yeah. I mean,
so if you want to do ridiculous Photoshop for us, just contact us.
My students Photoshopped my head onto Stalin's body. They Photoshopped it onto a bikini model. I've seen it all. But I think my wife and I even had a friend of ours as an anniversary gift Photoshop my wife and I, who were one of the pictures that our photographer demanded we take during our wedding was like us running away together. And we both did it as stupidly as humanly possible. And so my friend Photoshopped us running from there's us running from pirates, like the Pirates of the Caribbean, cannibals. They Photoshopped us running from the Shining, the blood elevator.
Was there one of the action movie style exploding houses behind you in one of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's a whole ton of them. They're all pretty terrible. But yeah, so I feel like this is a win-win scenario for you. If you succeed,
it really is.
You've succeeded, but if you fail, you've really succeeded anyway. So, yeah. All right, which brings us to our trivia, because we're wrapping it up. We're actually timing this pretty well, I think. I think we've timed this so it's about an hour, but we'll see how this goes.
Without Tyler, it's not that I'm saying it's his fault, but like each of us talks maybe 20 minutes, so 30 minutes without him, we're gonna hit time.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I have to do an imitation of Tyler. Hold on a second. There would never be that many soldados that existed before 1690 in that particular region of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
Sailing.
That's true. Anybody, if you read any of the buccaneering histories, they always show up at the Spanish fort, and there's always like 4 poorly armed militia, in a rusty cannon.
I mean, we've all been there. I'm really enjoying the fact that Tyler is sick right now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having him listen to this and just get to troll him. So I feel like this also incentivizes me to always make sure that I'm on for any days we record, because otherwise, God only knows what you would talk about. There's so much ammunition to make fun of me with. I just have to be here. Otherwise,
I'm
it's going to get
still
worse.
here. I'm
Sure you
picking
are,
you
Tyler.
all up through my wonderful new 5G implant in my arm. Those are pretty solid. Yeah, that was solid.
It was like listening to yourself, right? It's like listening to
Yeah, it
yourself.
was weird. It's like when you leave yourself a voicemail to tell yourself that you have homework due. Oh, man.
Exactly.
Go back to whatever
Sleep,
you're doing,
yes.
Mazzini.
Go back to recover. Go recover.
Yeah.
Thanks. Unless you want to be on to read your question, but you'll be on.
I can
No,
do
we'll
this.
just. He doesn't sound up to it. I'm gonna just
I
say
can
that
read the
now.
question. I can get
You can
through
read
it.
the question. Okay, so before you do that, we have to wrap up last month's question. So
It's true.
the prize is basically 2 gun crew blisters and a field cannon.
So 8 gun crew and 2 cannons.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet deal. And Glenn, you got this ready to roll, I believe, right?
Tracking says it should be here Monday.
Sweet.
Which is way before this comes out. But I will be contacting the winner. The winner might even have this in hand by the time this episode comes out. I know that was true with the last month.
Oh, good. I mean, like Mitch is usually really quick about turning these around. Let's see, has something come up.
Yeah, but it usually goes out on Tuesday, and I don't expect him reasonably to do this in 3 days.
No, he won't.
So I'm guessing it's going to come out the 13th. So,
all right. So last month's question for the gun crew and field cannon. Originally built by the French around 1735, this fort occupied a strategic position along a waterway in the northeast. Taken by the British in 1759, it was expanded enormously to enclose nearly 7 acres of territory, making it the largest fortification in North America built by the British, supposedly costing roughly 1/3 of Britain's military expenditures that year. In 1773, a fire, rumored to be started by a woman doing laundry, destroyed the soldiers' barracks and detonated a powder magazine. A British engineer, upon reviewing the works, pronounced them, quote, a useless pile of earth. But despite all this, American founding fathers during the Revolution still thought it a strategic point and worthy of defense. Until Ben Franklin visited on his way to Canada early in the Revolution in an effort to form an alliance, George Washington toured the fort in July of 1783, and it marks the furthest point north he ever traveled in his life. So we received, I believe, 21 answers.
hold on.
More.
Specifically, what is the name of the fort?
Name of the
You should
fort.
probably read.
What is the name of the fort? And the answer is Crown Point. This is Crown Point. And a lot of people got this. You guys didn't think that they would get it, but people did really well with this. So Crown Point is your answer. And we have a whole bevy of prize winners. So I'm going to roll a d20 on my computer.
What? I asked if you have a D20 and you're going to use the computer?
I have a d20. Do you want me to pull up my duck dice? I'll pull up my duck dice.
Yes.
Hold
What
on a second. I'm using duck dice.
See, this is why I knew
Survey
asking if you had a D20 was stupid.
Survey says, who's on the list?
Read the number, and I'll tell you who it is.
It's number 14.
14 is Chris Cassidy.
All right. So Chris Cassidy is our winner for
Yep.
the month of March. So we will reach out to you by email, get your address, and get you your prize shipped out as soon as possible, which brings us to our question and the end of our podcast for the evening. So the April question, Tyler is recovered from his deathbed to ask this question. And there's a lot at stake here, Tyler, because what is the prize this time?
So the prize this time around is a bark.
A brand new, in the box, bark from Firelock Games.
Well, yeah, I'm certainly not sending anybody my painted one.
Well, I just want to specify, this is not like some bootleg 3D print knockoff.
No,
This
this is
is
the real thing.
It's the real
Firelock
deal.
Games bark.
So, as a result of that, and so many of you getting the question correct the last time, I thought I should actually make you guys work for it. So, the question. In October of 1690, Sir William Phipps anchored 4 ships and 28 smaller vessels laden with 2,300 Massachusetts militia in the Bay of Quebec to lay siege to the capital city of New France. Phipps sent Major Thomas Savage ashore to deliver the following ultimatum to the French governor, Louis de Bas de Frontenac. It said, The wars between the two crowns of England and France doth not only sufficiently warrant, but the destruction made by ye French and Indians under your command and encouragement upon the persons and estates of their majesties subjects of New England, without provocation on their part, hath put them under the necessity of this expedition for their own security and satisfaction. What was the response that de Frontenac sent back to Sir William Phipps?
So we're looking for his quote, correct? We're looking for the
Correct.
or the written response, whatever he sent in response.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
his response was not nearly so long as the ultimatum sent to him.
Or as Old Englishy. And I've got to point out, Tyler has the original quote here, and even this differs from what I saw earlier. I can't tell you how many random capitalized words there were.
they have all those like stupid extra E's where you're like, just,
It's all the Old English spellings of everything.
Stupid Old English. Chaucer. The worst. Anyway, so if you have a response, please send it to talesofthesale@gmail.com by the end of the month. And we'll accept any answers that we get as long as it's before the end of the night on April 30th.
So I do want to point out, guys, next month when we read this answer, considering it came from a Frenchman to an Englishman, can we read it in the Monty Python Holy Grail French accent?
Yes, I think that's completely acceptable. But you can give us the English answer or the French answer. It's perfectly fine, whichever one you find.
And if you send a video of yourself saying it in the Monty Python Holy Grail answer, you'll get bonus points, which do absolutely nothing to increase your chance of the prize.
But they do make us laugh. That's the
We'll put your name in one more time than we regularly would. So even if you get it wrong.
Exactly.
It's like, whose line is it anyway? It's all made up and the points don't matter.
Oh, Lord. But a bark is at stake, folks. And its bark is worse than its bite. Oh.
I'm going to go BL again. Thank you, Tom.
See you later. I'm glad that dad joke put you under.
Yep.
I'm also going to say shout out to Brian Reed for trolling me, saying, I'm sorry, I thought your question was going to be harder. So social studies teacher throwing shade. I love that guy. All right. So I think that's all we've got for April. Looking forward to seeing who gets their responses in.
Who's in a wind tunnel?
Mark? I think
Tyler, turn your
wind tunnel.
Go mute. Go get better.
Mitch is going to yell at us now because the sound quality isn't good. We're gonna get yelled at. We're gonna get sent to our room.
At least it wasn't actually retching.
All right, I'm gonna make some notes really quick and get this set up to run. But Glenn, you want to take us out?
Wait, no, we still have upcoming stuff.
Oh, upcoming stuff. All right, I didn't know we had upcoming stuff.
I mean, there's upcoming stuff. Okay, let's address that later. Upcoming stuff. If you're in the Maryland area, Preston and I are working with Critical Hit Games. We are trying to get something set up. We're hoping for the 25th. It's not official yet. 25th of April, which is a Sunday. We're hoping for something Critical Hit Games. It'll probably be limited capacity due to all the reopening things, but I'm fully vaccinated. I believe Preston will at least have his first shot by then. So, we can definitely start seeing the public, etc. You don't need to worry about us. But I know I'm hosting another, like I said, I'm trying to make the Back Porch Brawl, or whatever I'm going to title it. This month I'm going to do Oak and Iron demos. So I know I've already got 2 people that don't normally play miniatures games signed up. But then I'll have a couple of regulars, I think. So I'm looking forward to getting some Oak and Iron out there. I did use the Firelock sale recently to purchase the expanded deck. So looking forward to using that. Tom, do you have any upcoming events, or is Connecticut still locked down?
Connecticut is starting to loosen up, and I have all my vaccine stuff because our school district was trying to prioritize getting the teachers vaccinated and has done a pretty good job. So I would say that by the start of May, so like during the next podcast, basically you'll probably hear me talking about a demo I'm going to give, because I'm going to try to give a demo once a month at a local store. The closest one to me that would probably be willing to kind of host this would be Mythico Studios, which
Nice.
has a spot in Susquehanna, New Jersey, but they have a new location, I believe, in Franklin. And I'm going to have a chat with those, because I've taught painting classes there before, and it's very, very well run. It's a great store. That, and also Kerwan's Game Store in Catskill, New York. I'm going to see who has space available. And there's a new place in Connecticut near me called Nutmeg Games, and they are basically in New Milford, Connecticut. So if anybody's kind of in my neck of the woods in Western Connecticut, those are some of the places I'm looking to set up shop soon, but not in April. So we'll keep you posted.
Nice. I know, actually, down in my area, one of the shops recently moved to a much larger location, and they're adding gaming space. So
Good for them. Nice.
I'll probably swing by there and see if they're up for anything. Because I don't know what they're running. I know they were just selling stuff before with maybe like one table. So I know they moved into a much larger location, and it's like 5 minutes from my office.
And I will say, just for the record, that people should absolutely patronize local game stores to the nth degree, because they've been suffering like a lot of businesses through these tough times. So if you have the means, please do so. If you have a chance to buy paint at a store, or a ship at a store, or some models at a store, as opposed to grabbing them online, do that.
Yes. I mean, obviously Firelock runs their specials every now and then, but aside from that, do try to patronize your FLGS, because you won't have one.
To play. Yeah. It's a place to play.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Are there any upcoming releases that have been announced aside from the someday in the future French Canadian War book that we're still waiting on?
They did release that Yoga Master special figure.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I will be running in my army, of course. So
wait, is that actually up? Because I
totally.
I had a rough work week and I did not get to check out so much.
It's pretty cool.
Where is it? If I'm going to the website, where is it?
I don't know off the top of my head. I saw it posted on Facebook. So.
Oh, well, that could just be Mitch.
Yeah, it's not posted through Firelock. It's posted by the boss man.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I know it's April Fool's. I was really hoping they were coming up with a special edition figure for that.
I feel like I'm going to print that off and I'm going to use it. Like, I'm going to run it in a force.
Okay, let's just talk about it real quick. That special unit card that's part of it, would you guys use it?
But you saw that you can't use any fortune points, right?
Yeah, that's... But see, here's
so
the thing.
For anyone who doesn't know or who hasn't read the article, and we would really appreciate it if you did, it is a 5-point Yoga Master character. Because he just does not care, you can't use fortune points. It is what it is. This too shall pass, whatever you want to call it. And on the other side of that, he can use yoga poses to convince your enemy that you are dead for one turn, so that
you can't be targeted.
Right, he negates one combat on his unit.
Yes. Okay, so it's 5 points for the yogi. Yeah. Abilities are, and he's a fighting character, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
In the case of a tie in activation, this force will always lose. The commander of this force cannot use fortune points since nothing is so important to get worked up about. Second rule is instant meditation. Once per game, when targeted, the commander of the yogi can go into a yoga pose to fool the enemy into thinking they're already dead. This cancels any combat against them for the turn. So, yeah. I'm thinking this, like, if you're taking a 0-point commander, might not be the worst thing to throw onto a unit if you're going for an objective or trying to assault something.
Remember, it's not command points; it's fortune points, right?
Fortune points, yeah.
Oh, that's true. Sorry.
So you're losing your 3 free rerolls per game.
Yeah. I mean, it's terrible. It's supposed to be terrible.
You'd be surprised how many games I get through without Using fortune points.
Well, that makes one of us.
I was gonna say you didn't pick that up from all of
Yeah,
the
that's
Firelock videos. You just use them in the first turn.
No, I don't. I keep one. It's almost I keep one just in case my commander's about to eat it.
The guy that like finds the fork in the first area of Skyrim and then just carries it for the rest of the game because it's clearly important.
Yes, absolutely. I still have that fork in my inventory.
Anyways, all right. So, I mean, still, I don't know. 5 points to not get shot. Oof, that could be handy.
Once for the entire game. So you're gonna take the anti-materialistic Buddhist. Lord. All right, yeah, you go ahead and play in a game. When I go down there to Maryland, okay, you're playing him in one of your forces.
I'm gonna play him against you, Tom, and then I'm gonna
Do
win.
it. Of course you will.
Win.
Of course you will.
I was gonna say that's
You're absolutely gonna win. It's no question. But it'll be so much more insulting if you pull it off with him in the force. No question.
Because I can't use fortune points, and then one unit you weren't allowed to shoot. It'll be
adding insult to
no,
injury.
it's a combat. It's melee.
You'll take some of those pirate coins and you'll throw them at me and be like, "Go buy yourself something nice."
Combat
Spending fortune
includes.
points.
It says any combat against them,
Any combat.
not just melee.
It's any combat.
Weird.
I'm pretty sure combat includes shooting.
I know it's an April Fool's joke, but I think we're gonna have to try it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use it on shooting. I would use it for when those flea boostia come over the rail with their pistols and
Yeah, but it cancels
knives.
It cancels it for the turn. Canceled for the turn is the.
All right.
So you just
Anyway,
have an entire turn where you can't be shot or stabbed.
Yeah.
Just engage God mode.
all right. Tyler needs to recover and go to sleep and take some NyQuil, and so we need to shut this down before you talk about the yogi for another 10 minutes. Because the two of you will totally do that. I'm gonna have like 83 unread messages on my Facebook group messenger. It's like, did you think about how the yogi is a metaphor for like the horrors of our modern world? 83 new messages later. Lord Almighty.
Guy only came back to prove that I'm not dead. All right, because I knew that if I just ditched, everyone would be like, "Oh my God, the vaccine killed Tyler."
No, Tyler's very much alive.
Wasn't the vaccine? It was the 5G.
Yeah, it was definitely 5G.
Tinfoil
I
hat.
was still here. It was weird. I was hearing like,
Tyler became the network.
Lord Almighty.
It's like the Matrix.
I noticed that Glenn didn't get logged out at any point during this.
All right, now that we're thoroughly off the rails, Glenn, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, let's take it out. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. We'll see you all next time, and I can't wait till we figure out who wins that bark because they're fun when used properly.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
All right.
Thanks so much for joining the show tonight. Remember to follow us on Twitter at No Dice, No Glory, and keep the conversation going on NoDiceNoGlory.com, now featuring our own message boards. Have a great night, everybody.